Hi everybody! So I wanted to make this video because I kind of discovered something last night. Well, let's just say I've kind of shocked some people sharing this, and I'm honestly not sure if anyone has actually talked about this or made a video about it. But let's just say I kind of stumbled upon an interesting build for Reinhardt, which some of us kind of already have theorized about, but when I changed the order, it actually ended up being, well, rather interesting. I may even show the replay to kind of I guess visually showcase what I'm talking about here. I found a healing Reinhardt build for Stadium. So this was a game last night. This is just the stats from just the final round, as opposed to the entire match. But yeah, as you can see, I actually out-healed everybody. So this was not really intentional, but by the end of it, I was realizing how much healing I was actually putting out. This was something I actually thought about trying after what I experienced in one of the most insane round 7s ever that I've ever been a part of. So the other night I was playing with somebody, another streamer, and we ended up in this game where we were able to win, but this overtime against this Reinhardt was insane. Look at the healing that he did for just that round. That's how much healing he did for just that round. That was almost as much as his Mercy. Now, if you're wondering, how does Reinhardt heal? Well, let me go into the practice range really quick and kind of give you an idea as to what this build kind of is, and then I'll show you some of the replays so you can kind of see it in action.
Voice chat may be recorded to investigate and verify reports of disruptive
Ignore that.
behavior.
So I have it listed here as the shield build, but honestly, the order in which I picked these is kind of what changed things. So, in the game I played last night, the first power I took, and this is where a lot of your healing is going to come from, is this right here. To me, my friends! While Barrier Field is active, allies within 5 meters are healed equal to 5% of your maximum life every second. Now, that's important to understand and know. Because, of course, as the game goes on later, you're going to get a lot more extra life. And you can be able to absolutely make that happen. So, basically, I took this in the first round. And then you basically... So, the reason why I went with this build was because we were facing a comp that featured 3 shooters. Mainly in... I think it was Ana, Ashe, and I think it was a soldier. And we also had an Ashe on our team. So I basically... And they also had a Zarya. So, compared to a game that I had previously where I went up against a Junker Queen and a Genji, which, of course, they just straight up ignored my shield, because of course they could, I thought to myself, well, this is a comp that I could actually get a decent amount of value from my shield against. Now, Shield Stampede is also an option I could have taken, but what I actually ended up doing, to try to help incentivize my team, I took Amplification Barrier to incentivize my DPS to stand behind my shield, not only so they could get healed, but also do more damage. So, I took that. I also ended up taking Infusion Generator to make the life of my shield even more so. And then you can take Barrier Reconstruction, where your shield is going to be able to regen faster when you deal damage with your hammer or fire strike. But another option as well is Shield Stampede, just in case you're wanting to charge and prevent, say, the opposing Ana from sleeping you while you're charging. This actually straight up counters that, as long as she doesn't get to the side of you or behind you when you charge. So, what I then ended up doing as well, you then have some other items that you can grab that can really help make this build better. Because on its own, you can see what the powers do. It turns your shield into a Baptiste window, but you notice this yellow circle right here? This big yellow circle around Reinhardt? This is the field that does the healing for my allies. this is where a lot of my healing comes from. And keep in mind, I'm not just healing my allies, I think I'm also healing myself. But even if it's not, there are other ways to help make that the case, such as Martian Mender, for example, where the more life you have, the more of it it's restoring every second, because it's 3% of your life. Well, obviously at first you're just having, say, 700, but as you progress in the game, not only is your health going to go up, but of course you can be able to afford other items that can really buff up your health, such as Rüstung von Wilhelm, which gives you 15% more health, armor, and shields, and of course also gives you damage reduction. So just like that alone gives you 135, combining your health and armor. And if you also have shields, it'll buff that as well. You can also get Mecha Z series. This is actually kind of like, I came up with this right here as a possible build here. Not necessarily in terms of like early game to late game, but just possible options that really help with this. Phoenix Protocol, this is also one of the more important ones. It regens your shield 50% faster, and it'll regen 50% sooner after it's destroyed. This is another important one right here. Overclocked Barrier. This makes the size of your barrier 20% bigger. It also adds 20% more health. And then Wilhelm Wagen, which allows you to move faster when you have this. So then other ones I recommend as well. I mentioned the Martian Mender to give yourself constant self-healing. And then what I recommend as well is either the reduction field, which not only gives you 50 more armor, but also gives you damage reduction, which can stack, but also Nebula Conduit as well, because it gives you 50 health, it gives you a bit more damage in your weapon, and it also prevents incoming damage, and you instead take that over 3 seconds. Other possible options you could take as well are Gloom Gauntlet, to give yourself more armor, more melee damage with your hammer, and a way to sustain through doing melee damage. And Divine Intervention, since that'll give you 50 shields, which then also gets buffed by things such as the Von Wilhelm, I'll just call it that, which also gives you another way to have your shield start regenerating again. So for example, when you take any of these, you'll notice, say, now you have 1248, if I take this, 1248, if I take this, 1241, because it's just shields. So what I ended up doing was taking the reduction field. So that now makes your health 1248, and your shield, your barrier, is almost 4,000. In fact, I think there is a way, another one of these, I think if you take the Mecha Z series, it's 3877, hold on. I'm pretty sure there is a way, another way, that if we say take Nebula Conduit, no, it's still 3947, hold on. I've gotten this up to over 4,000 shield. I'm trying to remember what it is. But, like, at one point, my barrier was over 4,000. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it this? No, it's 3912 still. Okay. I don't think it was... No, not Gloom Gauntlet, because it's still 3924. There was a way, I'm telling y'all, there was a way for this, or could it have been Phantasmic Flux, because... No, because then it just makes your shield 3751. So yeah, it's not Phantasmic Flux. Alright, well, it's almost that. I think what it also may have been, there was something that, depending on your teammates, they can give you more overhealth, which then can contribute to your barrier health. But look at the size of my shield, and look at the size of the circle that's doing all this healing. And remember, because of my bonus health, take a look. Look at that healing. All they have to do is just stand behind me, and they're constantly getting shield, plus also, if they are DPS like Asher Soldier, they're getting a Baptiste window. This is how you play healing Reinhardt, support Reinhardt, basically. Yes, you're going to be kind of a shield bot, but you are able to support and heal your teammates. And I know that that may not be the most appealing thing when it comes to playing Reinhardt, but keep in mind as well, I'll go ahead and get rid of my ult there for a moment. Take a look at my ult charge. I may not be dealing damage and getting ult charge from dealing damage, but you know what I am doing though? I am healing, which is also giving me all that ult. Look at that ult charge from my healing. Look at that. So you are actually going to be growing your ult charge just simply by keeping your shield up in front of your teammates. Now, if you're going, wait a minute, what about your barrier? Alright, so let's just stand here a bit. Let's go ahead and heal these guys. Get behind my shield, friends. Now, of course, you're not really going to be generating ultimate charge from mitigation. But I also want to try and see if I can show you guys a bit of like how fast the barrier can regen here. I put it down for a moment, and look how fast it regens. So even if like they destroy your barrier, it'll regen fast, and you have tons of health, you have damage reduction, and you have constant health regen. So even if you're by yourself, even if you start to get on low health, you can then immediately put your barrier back up. You can be able to start healing again because you also have not only the Martian Mender healing yourself, but I think this also heals Rein. I might be mistaken there, but that's what it felt like at times. So what I'm going to do, and forgive me, this is not like, I was not playing at my best last night. I wasn't having like the most perfect game. Sorry about that. That's not what I was trying to click there. No, I just didn't end up playing at my best. So, don't expect to see like amazing expert Reinhardt gameplay here. But to me, this is just like one of those. By the way, I also want to show something for you guys. So, in a replay, if you're curious, like this shows the stats for the round, right? But there is a way to look at the stats for the entire match. You see this down here? I know this is a little awkward, very awkward in terms of the controls, but look at this. Now you could see what the stats were for the entire match up until this point. So, yeah, I mean, I had died the least. So, one of the reasons why I tried to emphasize this, I started telling this to both my team, especially to both my Ashe and my Junkrat. I was like, guys, they are picking you guys apart, especially our Ashe. And I was expecting more from this Ashe because they have the All-Star Damage title. But I don't know, maybe they were just having a rough game. But they were going so spread out everywhere around the map, trying to flank and such, but they were getting picked off by the opposing DPS. The Ashe and the Soldier were taking them apart. So what I told them, I think by round 3 or 4, I was like, guys, my shield heals you. They are picking you guys apart. Just get behind my shield, and I can be able to not only protect you, but I can heal you. So that way you guys can stop getting picked apart. And I think they finally got the message because then they started to not die as much and they started doing more when it came to eliminations and damage, especially our Junkrat here. But yeah, that was basically what I was trying to do. Also, keep in mind as well, this is what allows you to be able to look at everyone's build. So if you're curious after the end of the game, you're like, what was that guy's build? What was he doing? Well, you can be able to look and see, oh, this soldier was doing the Biotic Field build, and you can see what items he had grabbed at this point in terms of how much cash he had earned. And you can see, like, I'm sure you'll see on the matches here, I had been doing as much healing as I had been doing damage. I was not really being that much. Look at the mitigation, though. Because I was putting on my shield so much to heal them, I was also mitigating a lot of damage from this team because I saw they had an Ashe, a Soldier, and a Ana. Now, the Zarya was also constantly in my face, trying to be very aggressive, trying to get me with the beam, so that was also contributing to the damage mitigated. But this is what I had taken up until this point, and you can also see as the replay continues, because at this point we're doing the armory phase here. I'll just go ahead and resume the replay here, because this will actually allow you to see in real time, I guess, what some of us were actually trying to do, I think, when it came to us deciding what we want to do for our items. Some people were selling things, as the replay progresses here. And I was like, okay, what can I get here? And I didn't think I needed to get Wilhelm Wagen in terms of needing movement speed. So I started thinking, okay, I've got Phoenix Procon, No Clock Barrier. What else can I get? I got Martian Mender, I got Wilhelm. So I decided to take the reduction field, get myself more damage mitigation. And I decided, okay, I'm just going to go ahead and also buff up my health and armor even more. So that's why I took Mecha Z series. I didn't quite have the cash. I needed, it was like maybe a few thousand short to get another, like, Wilhelm Wagen, another epic. And I was still being a little indecisive about that up until this moment. But I decided, you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and do this because I've got 1259 health. and I've got some cooldown reduction, but honestly, that's not really the point of this. But you can see that this is also what my teammates are trying to figure out as well. Also, let's go ahead and, if you want to see my perspective here, so you can see at this point I had 3950 on my barrier, and I'm just like, and I'm also getting that extra overhealth from our Juno and the Hyper Ring. So this is from my perspective in case you want to see. Again, I apologize if this is not exactly top of the line gameplay here.
The objective unlocks in 10 seconds.
So I want to talk about that moment right there because I was not expecting that. I didn't know there was a little hole right there for me to charge the Zarya into. I'm going to stress this again. I did not know that there was this little space right there. I wasn't actually trying to charge the Zarya. I was just trying to pin her into the wall to do some extra damage, even though she's getting pocketed by the Mercy. So when I then saw Zarya do this, I was just, oh, okay then. The main thing I was trying to do wasn't necessarily focus on the Zarya. What I was trying to really honestly do was just kind of get into the healers' faces, especially the Ana, because at times my DPS just didn't seem to be able to do so. So I thought, I'm going to need to try and get in there and really disrupt what this Ana is doing. Even though this Ana at times was also being very aggressive. And as you can see, a lot of the times the DPS was just also very spread out. You'll probably notice as well, my DPS, 3 of my teammates are dead. Now, this is something that I have struggled with as a tank, is at times I'm not fully aware of what's going on with my team around me. Because at this, when you're kind of dealing with something like this as a Reinhardt, you're just kind of like trying to figure out like what can I do and what can I also do to avoid feeding and making sure I can survive this, while not being fully aware of the fact that my DPS are dead at this point, and also that their DPS are also trying to take out my Juno as well, and my Moira. Now they're able to take the Juno over here, and again I am just kind of like trying to see what can I do and also make sure that I don't feed. Because if there's one thing you don't want to do as a tank is feed, right? So I'm just kind of trying to do what I can, trying to keep them off the point or contest the point. I had a terrible shatter right there, so I feel like I'm going to need to defend myself a bit during this replay here. Because some of you are probably going to look at this and go, what is this ult? So my reaction was a little late there because what I thought Ashe was doing was trying to walk up and, I guess, contest the point for some reason. So I thought I could get a shatter there, and then they started backing up the moment I hit Q. And so it was just a late response. And that's part of my issue in this game, is my response time can be pretty slow, unfortunately. But at this point, I kind of realized, and I'm hearing my Juno say, group up with me, and that's when I realized, oh, wait, my team is actually not with me. They're actually running back. Now, my DPS are just about back at the time. All I'm basically trying to do is just kind of, like, stall. Like, I'm aware of how much shield and health I have, so I'm just kind of trying to stall, prevent them from doing anything, especially because I know the Zarya is still running back because I took her out. So I'm just kind of trying to buy time for my team to come back, while also knowing that the Zarya is on her way back as well, and seeing, can I do anything to disrupt what they're doing? I'm trying to remember what I saw over here when I decided to charge over here for some reason. Whoa, that's... Just trying to see if I can... Alright, I saw the soldier over there. I thought I could get him, but then they died right before I got there. So, but that was something I was trying to see if I could help out with. And then I'm trying to see if I can make sure the Zarya doesn't go just bully my team. Just trying to block what I can. See if maybe I could get a lucky pin there. I hit the wall because at times I am just terrible with my charges. At times I'm also just terrible at landing my fire strikes. You can see there for a moment my barrier was over 4,000. And I think that's just based on how the matches in Stadium happen when it comes to scaling.
Moving up to objective A.
So you can see the stats in time. I've already done just about 3,000 healing. And I think the healing is not just from my power where I hold up my shield. I think it's also because of Martian Mender. It's just constantly healing. But you can see the ultimate charge that I'm getting from the healing. And yeah, my shield is gone, but look how fast it starts regenning. Look at my shield health. It regens so fast. If you want to be a big, sustainable ball of health and defense mitigation, look at my health regen as well. Look at how fast my health is regenning on its own, especially while I also hold up my shield. Now, at times they do get me. That time they did get me, because they were constantly trying to just get around my big shield to take me down. So I knew at this point, okay, they're going to take that. So now we just have a big battle here for the middle point to try and get this round. So I know my team is now over there without me. I have to get back as fast as I can. I stupidly charge into that portion right there.
Surrender.
And I'm just trying to see if I can do what I can to not only, defend, I'm like, oh, the Zarya's here. Let me charge. I miss, because of course I do. My Junkrat, though, started to get some work done. He started taking out their healers there. Just trying to, survive against the Zarya through mitigation and healing. Especially also against the soldier. I'm thinking, okay, can I take out this soldier at least? Yes, I could, even though the pin didn't kill him. Because I hadn't put anything into ability power, so my pin is doing very minimal damage. I, of course, get slept by the Ana because I turn my back on her. Like, I'm trying to do some damage, but look at the constant healing I'm doing. So yes, it's a combination of the To Me, My Friends power along with Martian Mender that is contributing to the healing as well. So it's not all just healing to my allies, it's also self-healing to myself. And so then here at the very end, because they step off the point and we end up winning the game. But in case you are wondering, so then this is basically as close I can show you to what the actual match stats were. At the end of all 6 rounds, I had as much healing overall for my allies and myself as my Juno teammate. This is the potential of the shield healing Reinhardt build. So if you are wanting to be a big sustain shield holding healing Reinhardt tank for your team in Stadium, this is the build that I'd recommend. To me, my friends, first and foremost, if you have DPS teammates such as Ashe and Soldier, grab Amplification Barrier to incentivize them to stand behind your shield so they can do more damage, along with getting constantly healed while standing behind me. Make sure you get Overclocked Barrier to increase the size of the shield. Phoenix Protocol, so it's going to regen a lot faster. Infusion Generator to buff its health even more. And Martian Mender along with Von Wilhelm, and Reduction Field for extra damage mitigation, extra health. These are the kind of things that, and then the final one you could get if it goes to round 7. If they have, say, an Ana, I would say go ahead and grab Shield Stampede if you're worried about the sleeps when you charge. Otherwise, grab the Barrier Reconstruction so that it can regen your barrier even faster every time you do damage, either by swinging your hammer or doing your Fire Strike. I think there's potential for this build. Now, it's probably not going to be the most fun because of the way that you're not going to be doing that much damage, but as you can see, you are actually generating a lot of cash from the amount of healing you're doing. Because I had 61,000 by the end of round 6. And that's from doing not that much damage in this game. I had more healing in this entire stadium game than I did damage. And yet I still generated a lot of cash. I also mitigated 83,000 damage. I mitigated so much damage. And you know, I died half as much times as the opposing Zarya, so I consider that, you know, a good win there. Being able to not die that much and contribute what I can to my team when it comes to the damage I prevented and how much healing I not only gave to myself, but also to my teammates. Now, this round doesn't really show it. There is another round that actually shows this better. Now, we actually end up... oh, wait, no, that's a different replay. Sorry. This is a specific replay I saved just from how insane this... Actually, is this the one? Is this the one? Hold on. If it is, I gotta show this to you guys really quick. This is what I was talking about, and this is what I was referring to, that I got the idea for this from another Rein we faced. So I want you guys to take notice of this. This entire round took 7 minutes and 24 seconds. We are in overtime halfway through this. Now, let me show you the scoreboard here. I was playing Soldier in this game. I actually ended up going with a rocket build, which in hindsight was a stupid idea on my part because they had a Mercy, a Juno, and a Freya. A rocket build against 3 flyers is not something that I should have done. I should have gone with the Visor build to deal with 3 flyers, and I stupidly went with this build. I don't know what I was thinking. Also, shout out to MissEcho, a streamer I know, who mainly plays Reaper. She was playing Mercy in this game. Shout out to you, Echo. If you guys want, I'll go ahead and also put her Twitch in the description if you want to go check out her stream. But this was the Rein we were facing. He had basically the same build I was talking about, including barrier reconstruction. Reduction field, Wilhelm Wagen, Martian Mender. Now, when I saw this is where I got the idea for this to try it out myself, because I want you guys to watch his perspective here. Because this Rein is the reason that this game goes on for so long. This overtime. Guys, watch this. Watch this overtime. This Rein has over 1,300 health and over 4,200 health on his shield. I want you guys to take note of how many times is just him against my entire team, while his teammates are trying to run back from spawn. Because we keep taking them down, but we have so much trouble trying to take down this Rein because he keeps self-sustaining, whether it's his shield or his own health bar. We have so much trouble trying to take him down. Now, at times, his teammates run back to help keep him going, like his Mercy is back. Now, again, part of the issue with this build is that you're not going to be doing nearly as much damage as you would be doing if it was the Fire Strike or the melee build. But look at this! We were going out of our minds here trying to figure out how to kill this Rein because we couldn't kill him. And we were like just trying to finish off this game and win this round 7. And it just felt like we were just never going to kill him. He was just going to keep on going and going. Let me swap back to first person so you can see it. I'm sure there are those of you that love seeing first person, but also look how much his shield regens when he does damage with the hammer or fire strike. You saw that, right? This is one of the longest round 7 fights I have ever seen. It's still going. It's still going. I think he's had his ult 4 times in this one fight. This fight just kept going. And again, he's not doing that much damage, but he is healing a lot, where a lot of his ult charge is coming from. Because even with his health bar goes down, he puts his shield up, and he is just able to get his health back a lot. Now, eventually, we finally kill him and end up winning the game, but oh my gosh. We were just like... Afterwards, we were chatting in MissEcho's Discord, just like, holy crap, what was that game and what was that Reinhardt? And me being a Reinhardt main, I had to look at his build, and that's when I did my investigating and realized that, okay, maybe I should do this. Now, this is the round where, to me, I was really able to see what the potential for a healing Reinhardt build here. Let me go back a bit, actually. But there were times in this round where I knew or could see that my teammates were low on health, so I put my shield up to just try and help heal them up.
Progress is ours.
Like right here, I see my Juno is low, so I get behind her or I get in front of her and put my shield up. And same with my Junkrat here. I'm like, let me heal you. Of course, they kept trying everything they could to flank and get around my shield because of how big it was. And they're trying to do everything they can. The Zarya is constantly in my face trying to break my shield. The Ana is trying to do what she can to get behind so she can, like, stop me by sleeping me. Alright, I have a funny shatter coming up here. I kind of felt a little bad about that Mercy. But it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I either charge her or I slam her. And since I didn't want to give up my positioning by charging, I was like, you know what? I want to get some value from my shatter here. Because sometimes you just, get no value from your shatter because you whiff it. As you've seen already in this. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to shatter this Mercy to stop the res of the Zarya. Because I could tell that's what she was saving the res for. So... But I'm hoping a couple of those times that you saw, I don't recall if it happens again in this round, but those were moments where I realized I could be able to... I was hoping to try and take out this Ana because I can't tell you how many times an Ana like this just infuriates me as a Reinhardt. I was able to land the pin on that Mercy there. I think I saw my soldier over here. No, my Juno. Right there. And I was able to actually heal my Juno as well. Now, yes, I think her ult was also on us there as well. Yeah, her ult was... Well, actually, I think it had passed us there at that moment. So it was kind of there, but I'd like to think that my shield was healing my Juno. Again, I really feel like these moments here were like, if my Moira was low on health, or my Junkrat, or my Juno, and they were able to get behind my shield, that I was then able to basically help save them by healing them. At least that was the intent. So I hope you guys can kind of see what I was talking about in terms of the potential of a healing Reinhardt in Stadium. That at times you can be that extra third healer for your team if things get really bad or dangerous for them. Like my Juno here was in a dangerous situation. Now, yes, my Moira was there to help heal, but at the same time, right there, I'm able to just kind of like stand there and just help heal my Juno to take the pressure off of my Moira to make sure that she is the only one actually able to heal the Juno. That I can help contribute to the healing as well. Like, I actually had not done that much healing up until this point. But, yeah. So anyways, I hope you guys can see what I'm talking about in terms of the healing Reinhardt build, the potential for it to work out. Obviously, I would say, if I was to put this on the Stadium build site, I would say circumstances may determine whether or not you may want to go with this. If you have a couple of DPS teammates that you know can just kind of stand behind you and do their damage and benefit from you putting your shield up in such a manner. If you also know that the enemy team has characters that can just, or that they don't have any characters that can just straight up ignore your shield, like a Junker Queen who can just, use her axe to hit Rein through the shield, or a Genji who can just dash through your shield. If there are characters you're facing that can't just ignore your shield, then I think this build could work out for you. Otherwise, I would probably recommend going with some other builds, but sometimes it just may not work out, and that's just how it is. But it is there potentially for you to take advantage of if you feel the time and circumstances right. And that's part of the fun for Stadium for me. So I want to get this out there in case no one else has talked about it. And I will see you guys next time.